for.
Imagine how these Giants players are feeling during a game. How tired they must be. Yeah. I can't even run up the stairs. I'm like, God damn. Goodness gracious.
Just went up and down.
Right.
Sub 30. Sub 30.
Sub 30. All right. Let's see what we are cooking with here. So I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. All right, cool.
Cooking with oil. Cooking with that sauce.
Cooking with that sauce. Okay, guys. So
Sauce.
gotta wait for some people to kind of filter in here, but obviously the New York Giants are playing a pretty damn big game today, my friend. I'm nervous. I woke up feeling nervous. I don't know about you, but I woke up feeling quite nervous. What's going on? Let's get this dub tonight. Facts. We definitely got to get this dub tonight, but I woke up at like 7:30 and I don't really get up that early on the weekends. Woke up at 7:30. I just, oh my goodness. I was just shitting bricks. What is good? How we doing today? How you guys feeling? Were you guys as nervous as I was when I first woke up this morning? Cause I still, like, every hour that gets closer to the game, I just feel a little bit more jittery. And also I've had like 3 coffees because I'm freaking just nervous as hell to begin with. So I'm also caffeinated as shit right now.
As you should
How we
be.
doing though? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll kind of jump into it, I guess, to start discussing this game. But Kirky, how are you guys feeling about Adoree versus AJ? I mean,
Sounds
I'm
like a
just
lock.
scared in general. I'm scared in general across the board, but Anthony's confident it's going to be a lock. I tend to prefer this side of
The
optimism.
Giants are winning tonight, man. They're winning.
I feel like
I'm just gonna say it. I think we're winning.
I think we can. I'm not gonna put the jinx out there. Knock on wood. You better be knocking on wood somewhere. But I'll tell you what, right now, I feel confident because the Eagles feel overly confident. You know what I mean? I like beating teams that think that they're hot shit and that they think they're going to steamroll us and they think that they're better than us. And we may not have the most talented roster, but I'll tell you what, right now we got much bigger hearts than them. We are definitely in a place, but we'll start going through some of these messages. Giants win. I bought too much booster tonight. Literally, my buddy's having a party. I had to tell him I couldn't go because the Giants were playing, obviously. But I told him if they win, it's going to be like 12 o'clock. I'm showing up and we're going hard because this is one of those games where you win this game, you got a party after. The night begins when this game ends if they win. So I'm feeling then again, I probably will go party anyway and just drink my sorrow away. But, it works both
ways. One way or another, this bottle of Grey Goose is evaporating tonight. I can tell you that much.
One way or another, I am not feeling good Sunday morning. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
One way or another, gracious. I am hungover. Let me answer this question from DRWOW. Why am I confident that we're winning? Well, it's kind of what Alex said. The Eagles are so overconfident right now, and everyone is picking them. They're the 8-point favorites. 8-point favorites is Alex. Come on, that sounds absurd for the Giants to be 8-point underdogs going into this game. Like, come on. I understand the first time they played Week 14, the Giants got blown out. I got that, but look at how injured we were at that point. That was when the Eagles were playing their best football. But look at the way the Eagles finished the season, playing lousy, sloppy, turnover-prone football to close out the year. And they've been sitting for an extra week. Yeah, Jalen Hurts' shoulder is feeling better. Okay. Daniel Jones is feeling better. Saquon Barkley's feeling better. Adoree Jackson is actually in the lineup now, and so is Xavier McKinney. This is a different team, and it's a completely different game. And the Giants are red hot right now. And watching all these Eagles fans, players, and coaches just feel so confident and just so overconfident and feel like they're just such a sure thing to win tonight, that spells upset alert. And I really think this is going to be an upset. I think that the Giants can go ahead and win this game. I'm not going to bet my house on it, okay? But I really do think that this is a game that the Giants, they can win. They got to play it clean. They win the turnover battle. I think they can pull it out.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing, though. The turnover battle is the big differentiation between winning and losing this game. If we can get Jalen Hurts and Anthony, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, we'll give you a rundown. Anthony just discussed Xavier McKinney and did a breakdown earlier this week and basically said if they can get Jalen Hurts to take some shots downfield, we can have good opportunities to intercept some passes there. Xavier McKinney did it last year. Hurts is vulnerable in some facets in that regard. But we need to win that turnover battle. If we can quiet those Eagle fans in the Lincoln, this is going to be a big difference maker. You know what I mean? Like, you got to take the fans out of it. And by the way, I don't know if you guys heard about this whole water situation this morning where suddenly the hotel didn't have running water. I've never heard of
something. Tell me that's an accident, man.
I don't, and they fixed it. Yes. But just like throwing in like a harmless little kind of bullshit, you know what I mean? Like harmless little bullshit, like variable there that may impact their timing or whatever, like their pregame rituals. I feel like that was purposeful. I don't know what you guys think, but a pipe burst and then suddenly it's fixed like a couple hours later. I feel like pipe bursts don't usually, like, they take days to fix. I mean, I'm not a plumber, but I don't know.
Some Philly fan had to have walked up to that hotel, been like, "Oh, this is where the Giants are staying." Grabbed a wrench, just went bam right on a pipe. I swear that's got to be what happened. And then that pipe
right
went,
on a pipe,
and all of the Giants were like, "Well, I guess we're not showering this morning." That had to be what happened. There's no way that was an accident. There's no way that was a mistake. Some Philly fan walked up there and sabotaged the Giants, but it's okay because that's the kind of things that they do when they're nervous, because they know they have a silent assassin creeping in the dark. That silent assassin being Saquon Barkley, who hasn't had necessarily an excellent game in a few weeks, but he's still playing great football. And today, the Giants are going to rely on Saquon Barkley. I'm guaranteeing it. I think that he is going to be the focal point of the offense today. We've seen Daniel Jones be the focal point for the past few weeks. I think he'll get busy, but Saquon Barkley, the offense is going to run through him. And if Saquon turns in one of those magical Saquon Barkley performances that we know he's capable of, again, I'm going to be feeling good. I don't think that this is a game that the Giants necessarily lose by a landslide. I don't think that's even possible. The Giants are going to go out there. They're going to compete. They're going to at least keep it close. I really think we got a good shot, man.
I think we do too. And to answer your question, Scheme asks Samson, is he playing? Yes, he is playing today. And that's a good thing, but I'm not expecting him to be on a endless snap count. I think that they're going to be like, we're going to put him in situational moments where we need him to give his all, because I don't think he's healthy enough. And he said he was really hurting this week. I don't think he's healthy enough to play this full game. I think that he's healthy enough to come in on essential third downs and essential big plays where he can just give it his all on maybe 10 or 15 plays. But we're going to need a lot from guys like Jihad Ward. We're going to need a lot from guys like O'Shane Ximines. And ultimately, you know, this game is going to be predicated on Wink Martindale blitzing heavily. You got to throw Jalen Hurts off his game. And I know he has that bum shoulder, like he's been dealing with that shoulder injury. If you can hit him a couple times, maybe rattle him. I'm not saying we're trying to injure him, but that is a factor that in this game, if he does get hit a couple times, he may start to feel that shoulder. Definitely targeting is not an ideal thing. You don't want to do that, but you're just naturally hitting a guy, you're definitely going to get injured or you know, re-aggravate something. Right now, I feel like the Giants, Dexter Lawrence, Jason Kelce in the trenches is where we need to be focusing on, Leonard Williams and whatnot. You know, this is definitely a situation where I think that, you know, a lot of people are mentioning guys like Landon Collins in the chat right now. Anthony, when you're looking at Landon Collins, how do you think that we can utilize his skill set to help kind of limit Dallas Goedert? Because Dallas Goedert, tight ends kill us. Tight ends have always killed us. For probably the last decade, tight ends have killed us. What can, you know, Landon Collins do in this scenario? Maybe he's a guy that we want to focus on maybe covering him and trying to limit him tonight.
You throw Landon Collins in the box and you have him be that hybrid safety linebacker that he is, man, because the Giants brought him over here because they realized they had a real weakness in their linebacking core in terms of guarding tight ends, guarding slot receivers. Like, they just didn't have any linebacker that could play in coverage. So Landon Collins, being a former safety who transitioned to linebacker, that's exactly what you want. That's a player who can step into the lineup and just man up on a tight end for some short 10-yard curl routes, some shallow crossers, drag routes. That's what he can do, and that's what his role will be tonight. Now, Landon Collins is not necessarily a starter who plays every snap on defense, but when the Giants want to get small, they want to get fast on defense, run a nickel and a dime package, that's where you have him go out there, because he's technically a defensive back, technically a linebacker. But having that versatility from Landon Collins is super helpful for the Giants. But how do you limit Dallas Goedert more so than, you know, what do we see from Landon Collins? I think you're also going to see Xavier McKinney play a lot more in the box than usual. And unfortunately, that might leave the Giants a little bit susceptible to some deep passes. But I also think that Julian Love has the ability to get into the box as well. So I think it's going to be a rotation between those two players. Sometimes you're going to see Xavier McKinney deep. Sometimes you're going to see Love. And they're going to rotate in and out of that spot to make sure that Dallas Goedert doesn't become the X factor in this game.
Yeah, let's talk about Evan Neal, because Chango Caro brought up a good point. A little bit nervous about Evan Neal. You know, you got Hassan Reddick on the other side of the football who destroyed him in that Week 18 contest. Are you worried about Evan Neal? Because right now we need him to have the game of his life. You know, he needs to be stout in this contest. We cannot have a liability at right tackle, and we cannot afford to have Daniel Bellinger, you know, chip blocking him every single down. We need Evan Neal to survive on an island. We need him to step up and really put his best foot forward. Are you feeling a little bit wary about Evan Neal? Are you feeling a little bit concerned? Because right now, I mean, based on the season he's had, I'm a little bit worried, but I think he rises to the occasion. He's been in some big games before with Alabama. I think he knows the implications and he steps up.
A little worried, bro. I'm shitting bricks about Evan Neal. Are you kidding me? Going up against this defensive line. If there's one thing that's going to derail this Giants season, if there's one thing that's going to kill the Giants, it's going to be, honestly, unfortunately, it's probably going to be Evan Neal. I think that he is our biggest matchup disadvantage in this game. Someone just mentioned this, no quitting this, just mentioned this, those false starts and the other BS. Yeah, the false starts are huge. You can't just keep walking back 5 yards on a drive. It's a drive killer. The Giants got away with it a few times the past few weeks, but when you have those false starts, they can literally just kill a drive on the spot. And of course, when you look at how Evan Neal played in that last matchup, that week 14 matchup, with the Eagles and even the week 18 one, he was just pitiful in both of those. The Eagles just have his numbers. So I don't know. I'm hoping that today he turns in the best game of his life. As you mentioned, Alex, he needs to do that, but it's a bad matchup for Evan Neal and it's going to be a tough one. That Philly defensive line is menacing.
Absolutely. And just to catch up on some people who have joined the chat, what's going on? JC Silva, owner B, what's good? Caitlin, how we doing tonight? I think you said you were somewhere far away. You're in Europe, so the game only starts at 2 a.m. for you. Well, you're going to be up late tonight, and hopefully it's for a good reason. You might have to stay up till 5:30 a.m. I mean, that's commitment. Shout out to Caitlin for the commitment in Europe, staying up till 5:30 a.m. for this game. Owner is in Turkey. Game starts at 4:15. At least you could sleep in a little bit, and it starts a little bit later. But this is definitely going to be an exciting one. We've been looking forward to a game like this for a very long time. I mean, last year I didn't think we would be in the playoffs at all, like within the next couple seasons, but screw the rebuild. Brian Dable said, you know what, screw that. Let's go right to the playoffs in my first year. And I'll tell you what, I am over the moon right now. This is definitely going to be a fun one tonight, guys. We'll do the score predictions at the end, Matt. So if you stick around, everyone will do our score predictions as we kind of wrap up this live stream. It'll be like 30 minutes. And then, we'll prepare mentally. I'm like physically freaking out. So and mentally, I'm a little bit worried. So I just need to talk this out with you guys. This is more of like a venting session, more of like a therapy session, because I'm really freaking shitting bricks, just as Anthony said. But the last time we were in the playoffs, 2016, we didn't win a game. We won now, and we won it unexpectedly. And it's like, okay, now I guess we keep going. And it's like, what do we do? Tibosaurus Rex. If you guys are new to this channel, haven't been here for a long time, we named at the beginning of the season this freaking dinosaur Tibosaurus Rex. It's not a T-Rex. It doesn't even end in Rex. But we named this thing Tibosaurus Rex, and we called it our good luck charm. And now we've won a playoff game, and we're freaking kicking ass. I don't know what it is. It's not a Bronchiosaurus. I don't know what it is, but there it is. So there's Tibby. Yeah, see, so people know. Where's Tibby Rex? There's Tibby. He's having a great day.
I have people on Twitter ask me how he's doing sometimes. Sometimes people will tweet at me and be like, hey, how's Tibosaurus Rex? Yes, he's well fed. He's doing extraordinarily well right now with the Giants in the postseason, as we all are. We're all very happy. I mean, how could you not be? But it is rather surprising the season that we've had ever since we introduced Tibosaurus Rex to this channel. It's pretty crazy. I mean, week 1, we were like, here's this thing. Now we named him. And
what is this?
Now here we are.
What's good, Killian O'Donnell? How you doing, my man? Irish fan staying up for the Giants. Will Tibbs get some sacks today? We need him to. So Lane Johnson, I've heard, is not fully healthy. Again, he's still a monster, but he's not fully healthy. So
no, he's not.
If you're the Giants, Anthony, how are you attacking that weak point? You know what I mean? If you're putting Azeez Ojulari and you're blitzing someone off the edge and just overwhelming with numbers, because right now I get the sense that, do you play zone in this scenario or do you man up? Because if you play man, you can blitz more guys. If you're playing zone, you can still blitz, and there's still a lot of packages they can do. But Wink Martindale's strength is man coverage, heavy blitzes. So how do you think they kind of attack this?
Okay, so here's what I think. If you're asking me how they attack Lane Johnson, what you see a lot of the times is Wink Martindale will move Kayvon Thibodeau all across the formation. Sometimes he plays on the right side against the right tackle. Sometimes he plays on the left side against the left tackle. Sometimes he lines up at inside linebacker. He moves everywhere. But for this game, I would literally just take Kayvon Thibodeau and say, you are not leaving that left outside linebacker position. You are just going to be pass rushing on Lane Johnson this entire game, and you're going to figure out a way to beat him by the time the game is over. You're going to learn where he's hurting, where he can't move, where he's not agile enough to get to the spot that you're going to. You're just going to learn how to beat him, and you're going to make that play in the fourth quarter, be Kayvon the closer like everyone wants you to be. That would be my game plan for how to attack Lane Johnson specifically. Now, how do I think Wink Martindale is going to approach this game, and how do I think he should attack the Eagles offense in general? You have to blitz a lot. Look at the numbers. Jalen Hurts is not good under pressure. When he makes mistakes, it is when he's under pressure. So you pressure Jalen Hurts. You send those extra blitzers. You have Darnell Holmes come in on a slot cornerback blitz. You send Julian Love on a couple blitzes. You send the house. Third down, you send the house. Now that you have that outside cornerback and Dory Jackson who can play man coverage on those third and fourth down situations, you send the house with your linebackers, your slot cornerbacks, whatever. Get after Jalen Hurts, get him under pressure, force him to make a mistake. That will be the turning point in the game. If Xavier McKinney can go ahead and get an interception, or even Julian Love, anybody for that matter, they get the interception, the Giants capitalize on that with points, and they don't turn the ball over once in this whole game. That's the difference. That is how they win. So pressure Jalen Hurts and have Kayvon Thibodeau just attack Lane Johnson the entire game and prove why he was a number 5 overall pick in this year's draft.
Absolutely. So catching up on some guys who have entered and gals that have entered the chat. So Michael Farr, Dan Jones is the best quarterback in this game tonight. I think you're right. And I hope he proves it in prime time Saturday night against the Eagles. That's a great time to showcase that you're the best quarterback in this game. The real Eli Ben, what is going on? Ants, you've been here for a minute. What's going on? Tommy Dixon, let's freaking go. Denny is the best quarterback in the game tonight. You are right as well, my friend. Mark, appreciate the love. We really, really appreciate that. You know, every day we got you guys with content. If you're new to the channel right now, got you guys covered every bit of news on this Giants team. So make sure to subscribe if you aren't already. Kevin, I'm also nervous. I'm on my third coffee right now. I probably shouldn't be drinking any coffee because I am like literally shaking. The caffeine's just, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. I'd rather go coffee than liquor at 3 p.m. But I'll tell you what, I'm nervous. But end of the day, guys, I'll tell you what. Okay, so Anthony, I have a question for you. Would you rather watch with more people or watch alone? Because I'm kind of in this boat right now. Like, I think I like to watch alone because I don't want anyone distracting me or bothering me. Like, I like to get hyped as well if we're winning. But like in this scenario, like I'm so nervous. I think I'd just rather watch in peace. I don't know. What would you prefer?
It's never in peace when you're watching the New York Giants. So that's a
facts.
funny choice of words. You're never in peace. I have to watch these games with a small circle of people that I can trust not to make fun of me when I scream at the TV, run across the room, and that will forgive me for when my language gets too explicit. Like I have to have a specific group of people with me, and I don't usually branch out. Like my friends sometimes will be like, "Hey, you want to watch the Giants game this weekend?" I'm like, you don't want to watch that with me. That's not happening. I'm going to watch that on my own. I'm going to cover it on Twitter and watch along with Giants fans on Twitter. That's who I'll speak to in this game. And then my mom, my dad, whatever, they can be there because they won't judge me too hard if I start screaming and cursing. But outside of that, people might think I'm a little bit too much of a fanatic and a little bit crazy. So,
yeah, no, I will say though, man.
One other thing that I got to say, because, you know, you were kind of getting to it, even if the Giants lose tonight, like, I'm going to be heartbroken, obviously, and I'm sure you will too. But at the end of the day, like I probably won't approach our recap video with a somber tone because I'm really proud of how far the Giants came this year. You know, Brian Daboll took this team overnight and turned them into playoff contenders. We didn't expect this. So the only thing is, I just don't want to lose to Philly. Like, oh my God, I hate Philly so much. It's like, as long as if we lose next week, okay, like that'll suck too. But we got to beat Philly, man.
Absolutely. I mean, look, as you said, if we lose, I mean, like we got here, the fact that we are here right now is unbelievable, guys. And I'll tell you what, Brian Daboll has brought back to life a fan base of millions and millions of people. We were depressed. If you went on Twitter last year, if you went on social media, it was just people attacking each other. You know what I mean? It was just people going at each other. Now everyone wants to be friends. This is what we've been waiting for. 3 years, Anthony and I have been making content about the worst freaking team. And now we're finally able to sit here and enjoy this moment. I would rather enjoy the most freaking like nerve-wracking moment going into an Eagles-Giants playoff game than be sitting here watching the Eagles take on some other bullshit team. You know what I mean? This is where we want to be. I want to have my skin crawling before this game starts. I want to be sitting there like literally about to pass out and faint because of how excited I am. This is exactly where we want to be. This is where we belong. You know what I mean? This is where Giants fans belong. This is where the Giants belong. The New York Giants are in the postseason right now for the first time, and it feels like we can make some freaking noise. We've already made a noise. We've already made a blip. You know, we've already beat the Minnesota Vikings in their house after just losing to them. And we didn't just beat them, we destroyed them on defense and offensively. Our defense now, you know, Dory Jackson back for a week. He has a little bit of experience. Xavier McKinney. I am so freaking proud of how these guys have fought and the team mentality. The one thing that I can say about how this team compares to 2007, 2010 is that these guys are a band of brothers. You know what I mean? These guys are not separately playing for one another or for themselves. They're playing for each other. They're going out and they're hyping each other up. If you guys saw that clip of Brian Dable going up to Darius Slayton after that drop and saying to him, keep your head up. We're going to need you. You know, keep your head up. We will need you again. This is the game where we need him. This is the game where Darius Slayton steps up and resurrects that entire, just puts that to bed, puts that thought, that drop to bed. This is where he takes that pass and he somehow scores for 50 yards in a score. You know what I mean? This is where it all comes out. And Isaiah Hodgins, the quality that we've managed to find out of nothing, going out and plucking guys from practice squads off the free agent, Fabian Moreau, you know what I mean? A guy that was not even on a team. Nobody wanted him. He was a free agent. He became our CB2 and our CB1 after Dory Jackson went down. We have gotten the most out of guys that should not be starting on teams. And that is what's beautiful about the coaching staff and what these players are doing right now. This is something truly special. You know what I mean? This is where I feel like we're the Bengals of last year or the Bengals of this year. And, we're really elevating our game and we have a chance to do something truly unique. And the Eagles in their home in the Link is really difficult, but the Giants, they believe in themselves. And, Leonard Williams said it best. I hear those fans chanting, booing, whatever. I use that as motivation. I only hear cheering. I only hear motivation. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. And, apologies for my little rant there, but we'll get back to the chat. I know you guys are saying some things. Let's see. So I would watch you guys more than any of those idiots on ESPN. I appreciate that very much. A lot of those guys just say nonsense. They just say a lot of nonsense and like clickbait stuff. Like we're trying to keep it real, but also we're huge Giants fans. So we are going to be biased in some facets, but that's the beautiful thing about watching us is that we're on your side every single time. Even if we disagree about minor details, we're all in this together. Joey, what is good, my man? Appreciate the love. And, keep going through here, bro. I remember how sad it was the past few seasons. I'm glad I can get through with you fellas. Really appreciate this, Cesar. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying this episode or this live stream right now. And 24-21 Giants. Any score prediction that is the Giants winning, 100% agree with you. Imagine I was like, no, I don't think so. Anthony, this guy is stinky. Did you just sneak that in there and expect not to see that? And Chris, by the way, good point. We're probably not here right now without Slayton. There's a couple of guys that probably are not here without right now. And, Anthony, tell me about this. Avonta Maddox, their starting nickel corner is out tonight. How do you think the Giants attack that?
Yeah, so I put out a tweet today with some stats about Isaiah Hodgins. Last week, he was playing against he actually had 5 targets in the slot. So, of course, Hodgins is primarily a boundary receiver, and he usually plays on the outside where Kenny Gallade, you would expect him to play, but Isaiah Hodgins has taken that role, and he's been great in it. First 100-yard receiving game last week. He's been awesome. And honestly, I think the conversation needs to start. Why can't the Giants roll into 2023 with Isaiah Hodgins as their WR1? Why not? I think they could. I honestly think that there's an avenue where the Giants go into this next season with him as WR1. But when you look on last week's game, he actually played a fair bit in the slot, which was a nice change up from where he usually is, primarily on the outside. And in that game, he was targeted 5 times from the slot, caught all 5 targets, 5 receptions, and had 2.53 yards per route run. So basically, that means he was gaining over 2.5 yards of separation on nearly every single play and was just racking up yardage from the slot. So this week, Avonta Maddox out for the game. You're going to see Isaiah Hodgins probably move into the slot and take advantage of CJ Gardner-Johnson, who I don't think is a very good player. I know I saw some fans responding to me like, oh no, Maddox isn't good, but Gardner-Johnson is. I don't really think so, man. I don't think he's manning up against Isaiah Hodgins. If the Giants want to take a matchup advantage or run away with it, you take Hodgins out from the outside and you stick him into the slot and you let him run crazy on Gardner-Johnson and watch how many yards he racks up tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the Isaiah Hodgins show. I mean, every single week he's gotten progressively better every single game. And I have to say, I'm just so excited to see how he continues to mount on that. And I am worried about James Bradberry, actually, a former friend of ours, a former friend in James Bradberry. Darius Slay has been susceptible, 500 yards allowed this year, a couple touchdowns. James Bradberry has been their top cornerback. And, obviously I'd love for him to still be a Giant because we'd have a really good, duo of corners if we managed to keep him. But money-wise, we couldn't afford it. We had to let go of somebody. And right now, they play a lot of zone. James Bradberry specifically is a very good zone corner. And I feel like if they're going to play a lot of zone, it kind of fits exactly what the Giants like to do. They like to get guys into pockets of space, and they're going to have a really good game plan. So I'll ask you this, Anthony. When you're looking at how the Giants can beat the Eagles, we've seen the Giants really implement a myriad of different game plans, like a lot of different strategies, using, the pony concept with the two running backs. We've seen them utilize play action, bootleg a lot. We've seen them take a little bit more deep shots these days, with Hodgins, with guys like Richie James and Darius Slayton. How do you think we attack this one? Do you think that it's really going to be reliant on the ground game? Because I think Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley got to set the tone, and then we build off of that with the passing game, because the if you guys don't know this, the Eagles have the number one secondary in football in terms of yards per game allowed. Now they do tend to score a lot of points, so teams are fighting to get back into games and they're trying to pass, which makes it even more impressive. Their run defense is middle of the pack. They're slightly below average in run defense. So in my opinion, attack with Saquon, attack with Daniel Jones on the ground, get creative, get Matt Breida involved in the running game, do some jet sweeps, whatever it takes. That's kind of my opinion. Set the tone on the ground, keep the possession in the Giants' favor, and stop them from getting the ball and from turnovers. The more we pass, the higher the probability of a turnover. The more we run the ball, the safer it is. So, Anthony, when you're looking at how the Giants can really go about this, how would you see it as the best method that we approach it by?
I think you set up the run game to open up the passing game, right? You run the ball to start the game. You let Saquon Barkley get the defense on its heels, and then you attack that with the passing game. And that's what they did last week, and that's what they're going to do this week. But this week, I just think that Saquon Barkley gets a few more carries than he got last week. Some of those goal line situations, those red zone situations, those plays where they were relying on Daniel Jones to make a run, make a play, I think that turns over to Saquon Barkley in this game because, like you mentioned, there is a much better pass defense out of the Eagles this week. Real quick, I got to point out this comment before you get to that one from Christine. Good luck to you,
I
my
just
fellow
saw
Giants
that.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a prayer for you. Good luck.
Seriously.
You're in for something crazy. And then one other thing, DRWOW said something. I lost it. I can't find it. But he said, yeah, here it is. Should have Kenny Gallade line up as a tight end. I never thought of that, but you know what? After seeing the way he flipped that man like a pancake at IHOP last week, hell yeah, I'm all for it. Line him up at tight end. He's a mean ass blocker, and we know that he can catch in traffic, and he's probably a better route runner than most tight ends. So yeah, F it, man. I'd like to see them give that a try at some point.
That's interesting. He's got a big body. I don't think they're going to try and mess with that right now because we do have Bellinger healthy, and he's been killing it in the run game.
It'd be more like if they do keep him next season, they should try it out.
Right. They're definitely not keeping him next season. Definitely not keeping him next season.
I don't know. He seems. I mean, the coaching staff seems to love him for the most part, and the players do as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Kenny Gallade is sticking around to play tight end for the Giants. I think he's probably like, I want to get cut and paid and then get another contract. That's like the best case scenario for Kenny Gallade. Get your guaranteed money and then sign a new deal. So, that block though was badass. That was a sick block. And, they asked him about it after the game. And, one thing I'll tell you about Kenny Gallade, I appreciate how humble he's been in this entire season because we've kind of disrespected the crap out of him. He's been healthy for the most part. We have not given him opportunities to actually play a receiver and give him passes, give him opportunities in the passing game. The fact that he hasn't spoken up, he hasn't said anything rash, and he's committed and he's doing whatever it takes to help this team, is going out and making big blocks like that against Minnesota. That's pretty badass. Like, I think that's really commendable. And I give him a lot of credit for not pulling like an Janoris Jenkins and like saying something crazy to get off the team and get cut. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate that. But end of the day, I'll tell you what, right now, if you had to target, like, honestly, what do you think about Richie James? What do you think about Richie James in the slot today against, instead of maybe they'll flip flop Hodgins and whatnot, but what do you think about Richie James kind of having a big game today? Because a couple people have mentioned his name.
Yeah, I mean, I know we mentioned that Isaiah Hodgins moving him into the slot could be a great way to take advantage of that injury in their lineup, but Richie James has been solid for the Giants out of the slot. He's been playing good football. I know he had that one drop against the Vikings in the regular season that everyone remembers, and he had those fumbles against, I think it was Seattle, but for the most part, Richie James is playing good football. He's getting open. He's made some contested catches as well. He's been a real grinder for the Giants. So I think that he will have a pretty decent role in the Giants offense tonight, especially considering their starting slot cornerback is out of the lineup. So yeah, Richie James, I'm impressed with him, and I'm ready to see him hopefully go out there and put up some big numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leo, really, really appreciate the donation. Means a
Thank
lot
you,
to
brother.
us. Shout out to my guys. Love the content. It will be an awesome game. I can feel it. 24-17 Giants. I like that scoreline. That means we did not let them go crazy on offense. I'd love that. That's a great scoreline. I really hope that you're right on that one, because that's dope. But everyone that's kind of in the chat right now, man. Daz kind of had a good point. Richie James is really good underneath. He's so zippy. Quick 8 yards here and there adds up. I have to say, Richie James, when he gets the ball, he has a couple of nice cuts. He makes like one really good first cut, makes a guy miss, and gets a couple extra yards. The problem with Richie James is every time he gets hit, I get terrified he's going to fumble the ball. He's not a big dude, and I'm just watching that ball like a hawk every time he catches it.
And so is every defender. Every linebacker and safety is also watching that ball like a hawk. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, do you have him be shifty and make a man miss like you just mentioned he can, or do you have him just drop down and take the yardage? That's kind of the question on the coaching point for Richie James. But yes, this right here, Richie James getting the ball gives me effing heart attacks. Me freaking too, man. But hey, he's been solid. You can't deny the fact that he's playing some damn good football right now. So I don't know.
That's true.
Wow, now everyone's turning on Richie James. People are advocating for Kenny Gallade now. That's crazy.
I know. Wow. We really must be doing well. The Giants must be really good if we've turned this much around. Oh, my goodness. But, Donald, you have a good point. I do want to talk about Darnell Holmes right now. Somehow Darnell Holmes will have his best game ever. We really want that to happen. So, Darnell Holmes, very surprisingly, is very good on screen passes. He sniffs out those screen passes. Last week, he had 2 big-time plays on screen passes. He blew them up. He recognized them early and made some big moments happen. In coverage, he scares the shit out of me. Really scares the shit out of me. But around the line of scrimmage, he's a good tackler. He's physical, and he's very good play recognition. So if they're going to keep him around that slot position, they probably have to have him as a flat man. They have to play him in the flat. They cannot have him trailing. They got to play a little bit more zone and have him in the flat. So that would be my take. If you're going to use Darnell Holmes, if he's going to have a big game, they got to make sure they cover up his vulnerabilities. Let's see here. Richie James covers the ball after catches. I think he's learned and was coached up from that mistake earlier. That's a good point. And I'll tell you what, there's a story that Brian Dable, Isaiah McKenzie of the Buffalo Bills, fumbled a kickoff. I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, fumbled a kickoff. And the Bills benched him for like 4 games. And then he comes back after those 4 games and has like 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Brian Dable was so happy for him and really he was helping him get through that mentally and just preparing him for the opportunity. He was like, you're going to get your chance again. And he came up and he made a big play. It reminds me a lot of Richie James, had those 2 fumbles against the Seahawks and then had a couple of games where he had the concussion, didn't really play a lot. They kind of phased him out a little bit. And then he started to catch, he had that one drop against Minnesota a couple of weeks ago, but then he started to play better. He started to catch those punts. He started to just perform well. And then he kind of earned his role back. And I love how this coaching staff offers players second chances. You know what I mean? It's not like with Joe Judge where you make a mistake and you're running laps and you're never playing again. If with this team, it's like you make a mistake, they punish you, but they punish you in a way that's positive. You know what I mean? They use positive reinforcement to help players get better instead of dooming them to a life in the dungeon where they're going to be off the team at the end of the season. So that really stands out to me as a coaching thing. And I really like that a lot. So, that was something that I did notice, but let's see who else is in the chat right now. I am ready in London. Awesome. Everyone over in Europe right now, much appreciation for tuning in and also for staying up real late for these games because I know it means a lot. And I know you guys are just as nervous as we are, especially late. But let's see. I'm worried about Jarrad Davis, honestly, though. So I'll tell you what right now. Jarrad Davis.
Play much.
I think he is. I think he is. And the reason I think he is because the Eagles have a very good run game, and Jarrad Davis is a very good run-stopping linebacker. He is just awful in coverage. I think that they just live with the fact that he's going to get exposed a couple times in coverage. They hope he fixes his mistakes from last week. The chemistry isn't really there with his teammates just yet because he's kind of new, but I feel as though his physicality is needed, especially against a guy like Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and Boston Scott.
Yeah, but the problem is it's like, okay, is his run defending that much better than Landon Collins when you know Landon Collins' pass defending is that much better than Jarrad Davis? You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
yes.
So
I do.
would you rather have Jarrad Davis in there because you know he's a solid run defender and he's a linebacker, or would you rather have Landon Collins in there who you know is a solid run defender as a hybrid safety linebacker who can get in coverage on Dallas Goedert on any given play? I mean, I think that you just go with the guy who can actually cover the tight end, because if you leave Jarrad Davis out there, you might be stuck vulnerable in a lot of passing situations. And we know that Jalen Hurts loves to throw the quick passing concepts underneath to his tight ends and receivers. And I think that with Jarrad Davis out there, hopefully he proves me wrong. Hopefully he gets an interception or something. That would be sick. But I don't know. He might just be that vulnerable weakness in the Giants defense if they leave him out there too much.
Well, why don't they use that to their advantage? You know what I mean? Why don't they play him on first downs only and then force the Eagles and be like, all right, we're gonna put a guy on there.
That is
we're gonna put
exactly what they should do. Yes,
like,
that was
put
really
a guy
smart
in there and just bait them into thinking like we have a run stopping thing out here and then drop him into zone or like drop him into his, you know what I mean?
And I'll
like,
take it one step further with that, Alex. Yeah, they should do that. Have him play first and second down if they want him out there so he can defend the run. And then on third down, you can leave him out there, have him blitz, and have someone else drop in the coverage. That's where you get Kayvon Thibodeau to drop in the coverage. You know, they like to do that every now and then. And Thibodeau has actually been pretty solid in coverage. That's where you do it, because you'll have Kayvon Thibodeau lining up over the right tackle looking like he's blitzing. You'll have Davis looking like he's in a short coverage, a short zone. And then you just have Davis blitz, and then you have Thibodeau drop. Perfect. That's how you'll definitely catch Jalen Hurts by surprise.
Yeah, that's interesting. And here's the take here that Jarrad Davis is better than Jalen Smith, to be honest. So I'll tell you what, Jalen Smith has played a pretty big role for us this year, and I commend him for the effort he puts in every single week, because he was not supposed to be a starting linebacker. You know, we had Blake Martinez and, we had Tay Crowder, who's obviously not on the team anymore, when we opened the year. And of course, Blake Martinez was cut, and then, Tay Crowder cut midseason. So, and now we're kind of rolling with guys like Jalen Smith, who was plucked off the street basically. And, he's stepping up big this year. And I definitely give him credit for that. The difference between Jarrad Davis and Jalen Smith is negligible, in my opinion, because you're like, okay, these both guys should be backups on other teams. But I'll tell you what, Jalen Smith, he's a good tackler. He's tough. He's not going to shy away from a big running back, running up the gap. So I'll tell you what, I do think that Jalen Smith has value to this team. But right now, my biggest concerns are this. I'll rank them. So out of my three biggest concerns, one of them, my first one, is Jalen Hurts running the football when the pocket collapses. That scares the shit out of me. I don't know if we have someone. Do you spy on Jalen Hurts? Do you leave a spy? Because it takes a guy it takes a guy out of the play, essentially. But maybe you have a guy just cover the flat on both sides. And then, that way you're kind of spying on him from the flats. And then you have your secondary. What do you think we do here?
So usually when a quarterback scrambles, they scramble through the guard and tackle. So it's going to be up the middle. So that's why you have the spy. If they're going to scramble to the outside, that's when you have your contains. And so, yeah, you're going to see probably Thibodeau. He's going to pass rush half of his snaps. He's going to contain on the other half. And Jihad Ward is not a very good pass rusher. He doesn't rack up sacks or pressures, but he's very good at containing the edge. So if Jalen Hurts tries to go around that outside, Jihad Ward's going to be standing there waiting for him. So I do think that you have a quarterback spy, at least in the second quarter, if he starts running a lot in the first quarter, right? I don't think you start off the game with a spy, because you have to keep this in mind. Jalen Hurts is probably not going to run the football that much because he's coming off of an injury. His shoulder, yes, it's healthy, but it's probably still bothering him at least a little bit. It certainly looked like it was 2 weeks ago in that Week 18 game. It's his throwing shoulders, there's another layer to add on. He's not going to want to run into contact. What is he going to do? Run up the middle and see Jalen Smith in the middle of the field and try and chuck him? No, because if Jalen Smith hits him and hurts his shoulder, he's done. The Eagles are screwed at that point. So Jalen Hurts is not going to be doing a whole lot of running in this game in my eyes. And if they do decide to go with the quarterback spy, I think it's going to be one of those safety linebacker hybrids like Tony Jefferson or Landon Collins, because they have the speed to get sideline to sideline with Jalen Hurts, and they have the recognition of the plays to actually stand there and make the plays of run defense as well. So I'm not too worried about Jalen Hurts running in this game like I would be in any normal game, just because he is coming off of the injury. But, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And if he does start the run, I think that's where you see, again, a guy like Landon Collins just go in there, provide some meaningful snaps as a quarterback spy.
Yeah, I mean, Hector, this is a good question to ask. Dallas Goddard, whatever, might kill us tonight, but if it means Big Blue can contain Hurts from running and minimizing AJ Brown and Devontae impact, I'll take that. So someone's going to be open. You know what I mean? You can't cover everybody. You can't stop everybody. In your opinion, Anthony, are you willing to compromise in terms of, spying on Hurts, which may open up Goddard a little bit more? Are you willing to make sure Goddard doesn't beat us and let Jalen Hurts run the football and have a little bit more space and just try to, create a turnover or whatnot? Here's a take. I almost want to say I think there's a good chance that if Jalen Hurts takes a big hit today, he may fumble, because that shoulder, if he's holding the ball on that side, there may be a possibility that, they hit him in the right spot and he loses that football. I wonder what the Giants' game plan is for this. You know what I mean? Like Devonta Smith, he's another guy. He could easily fumble. The guy's got, sticks for arms, and, that's another conversation to have. We've talked about this yesterday, but I want to get your guys, everyone in the chat right now in the stream. Who are you covering AJ Brown with? Who are you covering Devonta Smith with? Are you going to use Adoree Jackson on AJ Brown? Are you going to use Cordell Flott or Fabian Moreau? And the fact that, Cordell Flott had a good play, I guess, last week. He only played 3 snaps, right? If I'm to guess right now, I'd say that AJ Brown and Fabian Moreau match up, and then you have some coverage deep. You trust Xavier McKinney on the deeper portions, because I think that Xavier McKinney is one of the best free safeties in the game, and you trust that he can really get those downfield passes. He did it against Justin Jefferson. In fact, it should have been offensive pass interference last week. You did a good breakdown of that, Anthony. And then, you're looking at Adoree Jackson on Devonta Smith. That speed matches up. Adoree Jackson, is our best cornerback by far. What would you do in this scenario? I know we talked about this yesterday, but I'm kind of feeling like Adoree on Devonta Smith makes sense to me. And I feel like bracketing with Fabian Moreau and just having Xavier McKinney deep also makes sense for AJ Brown, since the frame, like Fabian Moreau and AJ Brown have similar sizes. Adoree Jackson could get out muscled on some deep passes there.
I don't think you can bracket in this game at all, personally, because I think that if you double team AJ Brown, you're leaving single coverage every single snap for Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert both, and then you're kind of screwed. So I don't think you really can do any bracket coverages. I think you can play the zone. You just really, what I think is, what the Giants are going to do in this game, it's going to be cat and mouse. It's going to be like playing chess. They're just going to set up a few things defensively. They're going to give a few looks, wait for Jalen Hurts to try and take advantage of that look, and then it's going to be a disguise. You have to disguise your coverage in order to win this game, because what you want is Xavier McKinney to kind of sit in that robber. When you play cover one and you have him sit in that robber, so it's not the deep zone, but it's the zone. It's like the shallow middle, right? So that's where you want him to sit. And then they're going to think, okay, we're going to get AJ Brown over the top here. But then as soon as that's going, Xavier McKinney disguises that, and he's going deep, and he's playing that deep middle, and then he goes and gets that interception. I did the breakdown the other day. I'm really confident that that's the X factor in this game is Xavier McKinney. But when you're looking at AJ Brown, when you're looking at Devonta Smith, Adoree Jackson is our best corner. AJ Brown is their best receiver. To me, that's it. That's the whole conversation. One-on-one, he shadows him the whole game. And Devonta Smith, you hope for the best on that, because I do think that if AJ Brown gets busy, we're screwed. If he starts going up against backup level corners, we're screwed. So you got to put your best man on their best man if you want to win this game.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. A lot of the times when, this offensive line, the Eagles offensive line is the number 1 ranked offensive line in football when it comes to pass blocking. And I think they're ranked 4th in run blocking. So they have a very
they're the best.
Good offensive line. Good. They're not the healthiest right now, but still they're going to be playing very, very well with the crowd behind them. And I'm sure, they're going to be at the top of their game. But if the Giants, and I imagine Wink Martindale is going to be sending a ton of blitzers, consistent blitzing, consistent pressure on Jalen Hurts. When you blitz and they get stopped, that's when we're in trouble, because if you blitz a guy in coverage and Jalen Hurts isn't immediately under pressure and he has time, that's where I'm scared about a deep shot downfield. We cannot. Last week we did so well not giving up any deep passes downfield. Kirk Cousins was looking, and our pass rush was getting home in the second half, and we were doing some good stuff. They really just beat us on those smaller route concepts. They were just, really just chunk yards, and then, really long extended drives and scoring on them. They weren't killing us on the deep passes. We cannot let that happen. I'd rather play that, like, force them to beat us with 15 play drives than a 2-play drive with a 50-yard touchdown catch. You know what I mean? I'd rather them just tire themselves out, settle for field goals. Like, that's, in my opinion, a good strategy against a team as potent as this on both sides of the football. But if there's anyone that you think that steps up on defense in this game, who does it have to be? We know Kayvon Thibodeau's got to step up. We know, but like maybe someone that's kind of underrated that may come up with a big play. I'm going to go out and say I think Julian Love is someone that needs to step up big in this game that, we don't already know about this. And right now, I kind of feel like Julian Love is that utility piece. He can play a myriad of different spots. He can blitz. He can play, man coverage. He can play zone. He can play free safety, strong safety. I think he's the one that's got to really have a great game because he's going to be the matchup that they're going to try to exploit in that secondary along with CB2.
Listen, Julian Love is a damn good player, and he's the player that we haven't spoken enough about for the contract extensions. We've had our conversations about Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. Julian Love needs an extension. He is a building block for this team. He needs to be here for the long term. I really like what he provides to this team on the back end of that defense, and even when he does step up into the box. First of all, shout out to that hat for Alex. That thing is fire. I'm waiting on mine. Alex, when is mine coming in? I want it so freaking badly.
I had to get. I was doing some trial runs. I like this one, but I found another really cool one. So I made a Yankees one too. Look, check this one out. If you guys are Yankees fans, I made a cool fireside Yankees. This one's actually sick, and it fits so well too. It's like really, really nice hat.
I want that one. That looks nice. Yeah, give me that with
this
the
one's
fireside.
Nice. This one's cool. It's more of like a boating hat, like a dad hat type of situation. But that one's sick. A little bit more expensive, but for you guys, worth every penny. I'll be doing some giveaways. Like we'll do when the season ends and whatnot. We'll do some giveaways. And we'll get you guys some cool gear. And I also have these cool stickers that I'll send with them. I sent to one of our fans some the other day. So if you guys want any stickers, just hit me up on Twitter and I'll shoot these to you guys if you want them. Just something to give back to you guys. We appreciate all the support as always. So much love.
Much love. Hell yeah. I mean, I want mine. I'm ready. I'm waiting on it. Just send it over to me and I'm ready. And then you said, who is the X factor that's going to stand up in this game? Okay, so in terms of the big name players that we've mentioned already, obviously I've been saying all week, I think Xavier McKinney is the X factor. I think that if Xavier McKinney gets an interception in this game, I think we are winning this game. I'm so convinced by that. And then another player who we haven't mentioned much on this live stream, but we've been mentioning him all week, Dexter Lawrence. Now, look at that play, that 4th and 8 versus the Vikings that the Giants won the game on. We gave a lot of credit to Xavier McKinney for making the game-winning tackle there. But the only reason he was in position to make that tackle is because Dexter Lawrence was in the face of Kirk Cousins in like less than 2 seconds and forced the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hand. If you watch that play on the all-22 angle, there is 2 receivers breaking over the middle. If Kirk Cousins has 1 extra second in the pocket, we're talking about a first down there. Kirk Cousins is going to make that throw, but Kirk Cousins didn't have that time because of Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is a game breaker. You mentioned it, Alex. That game or that matchup, Dexter Lawrence versus Jason Kelce, the top matchup in this game. If Dexter Lawrence gets the upper hand in that matchup, the Giants can win the game because of that, as we saw last week. Because I really think that without Dexter Lawrence in the lineup, we might not have won that game versus the Vikings, man. He was that impactful.
Straight
but now
facts.
Let's throw out one other name, though, because those are the big names that we've talked about. And you want a low-key guy who can make an impact in this game, I'm going to go ahead and say that Cordell Fly. If he gets some playing time, I think he's going to line up on Devontae Smith. We talked about this in yesterday's episode, and I think that could be a huge matchup for the Giants. Now, Fly, is he ready to play? Is he really ready to go out there in the divisional round and face against a guy like Devontae Smith? I'm not sure, but he showed that he's got some juice to him in the final quarter of last week's game, making that pass break up on 3rd down. So if he gets a chance to go out there, I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one other thing. So the first time we played the Eagles, you want to know who wasn't playing in that game? Big difference maker.
A bunch of people. Dory Jackson
Leonard
and a bunch
Williams.
of others. Yeah,
Leonard
that's true. That's right.
Williams.
You're right.
And you want to know what that means? It's very important. It means that Dexter Lawrence is not going to be double teamed. And it means that we have a 1v1 Dexter Lawrence, big 340-pound, just hunk of meat up against Jason Kelce. This
is what I'm saying,
very
bro.
important.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's sleeping on the Giants because they looked at that first game where, like, the Eagles put up 40-something points. Dude, our team was decimated at that point in the season. No Dory Jackson, no Xavier McKinney, no Leonard Williams, who I even forgot he was out there. Yeah, Isaiah Hodgins hadn't come into his own there. And
no Bellinger.
A lot of players had it.
Maybe?
Bellinger, I think, he might have been out of lineup. Even if so, he wasn't in his prime like he was earlier in the season. But That was a different team than what we're seeing right now. Like, this is not the same matchup that it was, and people are failing to realize this. This New York Giants team that we saw last week and that's going to be playing tonight has not played the Eagles yet. We haven't seen it happen. Everyone is acting like we've seen this game before. We have not seen this game before. This Giants team is different than the one that the Eagles face in Week 18, and it's a lot different than the one that the Giants face in Week 14. It's a completely different team, and I'm ready to see this team surprise those Eagles because they're not ready for this. They think they're getting somebody that they've played before. They have not played us before. This is a brand new New York Giants team. The postseason is a brand new season. It's elimination games every single week. The Giants are playing different football because of that. I'm really ready for this game, and I am so excited. And I really think that people are sleeping on the Giants for no good reason at all.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking back at that game, I'll tell you right now, these are the main stats to keep in mind. Saquon Barkley ran for 9 carries, and that loss early in the season, 9 carries for 28 yards. I can guarantee that's not happening again. Daniel Jones, 4 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Richie James led us in receiving, 7 receptions for a touchdown. Darius Slayton had 2 receptions for 42 yards. Hodgins actually played in that game. He actually had a touchdown, his first touchdown for us, 38 yards and a score, but still 38 yards, not really impactful. Saquon Barkley was barely used. Like, he had 9 carries. That's it. So if I'm the Giants in this one, I'm looking at Saquon and Daniel Jones to combine for like at least 15, at least probably around 20 carries in total together. Actually, no, screw that. More like 25 carries because I want Saquon to have at least 15 to 18 carries and then Daniel Jones to have, maybe 5 to 10 carries himself. So maybe that's a big difference here. I'm definitely kind of, I don't know. I feel good about this, man. I feel good about the Giants. That last game that they played, that big blowout game, the stats just don't look right. They actually were quite good receiving, 216 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones had a touchdown, 169 passing yards. He wasn't that bad. So, the big difference is going to be the usage of Saquon. And Anthony, what do you think about that? How many carries do you think Saquon should get in this one?
How many carries should he get? That's a great question. I think it depends on what the game is looking like defensively from the Eagles. If they're having an easy time stopping the run, you probably move away from it and you ask Daniel Jones to do the heavy lifting. But if Saquon Barkley's averaging 5 yards a pop, you just keep feeding him. And I think that this could be a game where, all right, let's throw this scenario. Let's say that if the Eagles turn the ball over once or twice and the Giants have a lead, they're going to want to run it. And you might see Saquon Barkley go for like 35 carries just to control the clock and keep the game in the Giants' hands. That's possible. We've seen that before. We saw it against the Bears. But let's say that the Giants are playing from behind a bit. It's going to become the Daniel Jones show again. And honestly, for the first time, I feel really confident in the Daniel Jones show. Man, throw him the keys. Let him speed this Corvette, like let him race. I mean, it's so impressive the way that Daniel Jones has just blossomed into a franchise quarterback this season. I mean, especially coming into his own in such a dramatic fashion last week in the postseason, his first postseason game of his career. I mean, a lot of you older Giants fans who are probably watching this probably remember how bad Eli Manning was in his first career postseason game, right? And look at how Daniel Jones just stepped in there and was like, playoffs, whatever. And then he just went out there and demoralized the Vikings like that. So impressive. So, I mean, in terms of how many carries will Saquon get, I think he gets at least 15 in this game, which is more than he got last week. I really feel like they haven't been utilizing him too much, but this is the week where I think that Saquon Barkley is going to be the focal point of the offense. So I expect him to get at least 15 to 25 touches in this game.
Yeah, agreed. And Josh Wood, man, 5 hours to Philly. That's absolute badass stuff right there, and appreciate that donation. You drove 5 hours and gave us $5, man. That's a big deal. We really, really appreciate the love, and you are a tough son of a gun, and good luck. Give them hell, man. Just give those Eagles fans hell, but stay safe. Stay safe at the same time, because they are a nasty bunch. And even Eli is like, I don't ever want to go back there. I think he's going to go back for this one. But that's awesome, man. Really, really hope you have a really great time, and hopefully you get to see a lot of Eagles fans crying on the way out after this one. It's going to be really, really fun to watch. But I agree, Caitlin. I think Saquon is absolutely ready for this. I am super excited to see what he can do. And like Anthony said, 15 to 20 touches. I'd love to see like 15 carries and 5 receptions. I'd like that. That's a good one. That's a good stat line for me. And 100% re-sign Jones. I agree. I think right now we're all in agreement that Daniel Jones should be extended here. And, as Timothy brought up, but absolutely. I'm feeling you, Sir Weatherford, Chad Turn Uppington. We want to win this one badly. I really do. I want to beat the Eagles so freaking badly. Like, we can't lose a third time to them, bro. We cannot lose a third time to them. We need to win this game. Like, we need to, for my sanity, for your sanity, Michael Gross, get blocked, idiot. Idiot, get blocked. Block the user. No Eagles fans are allowed here. None. Get blocked immediately. Oh, man. I got to say, Anthony, if we win this game, everyone I know that's an Eagles fan is instantly, I'm going to have messages ready on to go, mass texts out.
Do you have friends that are Eagles fans?
I do. I have one.
I personally don't, because as soon as I find out someone's an Eagles fan, I stop speaking to them. It says enough about their character. I don't need to speak to them.
That's fair. That's fair. This guy's actually a good dude, really good dude, but very bad taste in football teams. I'll tell you that right now. But you know
I wouldn't even give him a chance personally. So you're a better man than me.
Well, we worked together, so it was like at first it was forced, and I'm like, this guy's actually pretty cool, and I was like, maybe there are some very few amount of Eagles fans that are actually are cool people.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But guys, you know, we're gonna wrap it up here in a couple minutes. Drop your score predictions below. I want to hear what you guys think. I'm going 31-30. Giants win on a Graham Gano golden boot field goal in the link, 35-yard field goal to win it. And it just sneaks in that left upright, and we go home. Hearts dropped, hearts in my freaking stomach, and partying all night long because of it.
Imagine.
I'm going 31-30. Anthony, what are you thinking?
I am going to go with 27-24. I don't think it's on a field goal. I think that the Giants find themselves down 24-20 in the fourth quarter, and Daniel Jones leads a game-winning drive to get the score and win by 3 points.
I like it. Well, we got some here. I'll start reading. Daniel, 33-27, 1925, 1,925 to the Eagles 0. If that happened, I would be ecstatic. That would be a win for probably a decade's worth of games. 27-24 Giants, golden foot victory. 28-23 Tommy, 41-30 chaotic blueberry. Great name. Tommy Dixon, 28-23 again. Chris D, 31-28 Eagles over the Giants. Timothy, how dare you? How dare you? Better be knocking on wood. Are you even a Giants fan? Eagles over the Giants. Come on. Get out of here. Owner 17-14, 21-18. Defensive battle 47-0. Giants love it. 28-21. Giants defense ends it with a fly interception. That would be freaking awesome, by the way. Fly interception would be cool. Sick. 31-28 from Dan. Caitlin, 24-21. Love it. 35-3 G Men. 24-16 from Tommy. 4-1 Tommy. Brian Harrington, 27-20. A lot of people like the 24-27 range. Very interesting.
That's
20-21 from Josh
like
Wood.
That.
Richie James, time expires. Touchdown. Backpedals into the end zone like Deshaun. That would be freaking awesome. Oh, Josh,
that would be the coolest thing ever.
So well. I pictured that so well in my head that I could just picture like Eagles fans just like literally like jumping onto the field in anger, just like storming the field in anger, and just Saquon.
Yeah,
just,
right.
Like,
I feel like
just Saquon just landing haymakers.
I feel like while he's returning the punt, the dirty Eagles fans would cheat and tackle him before he made it to the end zone.
Imagine that.
I feel like it just wouldn't even be allowed to happen, you know. But
what do you do in that scenario? What do you do in that scenario? If like he's like on the 5 and an Eagles fan just comes out of nowhere and like freaking rocks Richie James.
I think they get an untimed down 15 yards from the spot of the foul, but that's like BS, because then, you know, you just have one play to throw it in the end zone and hope for the best when you had a walk-in touchdown. But if you recall, this is actually funny. Yeah, I think that's how it works. But what was it? It was when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, Joe Flacco said that final kick to the 49ers, had he taken that home, he was going to run onto the field and tackle him before he got to the end zone. Joe Flacco said that in a quote. He said that he wouldn't have let him score.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's a flag for that situation. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I never would have thought that. I mean, I just picture like Saquon, just the fans like storming Richie James is like running, and there's like 600 fans chasing Richie James into the end zone, and Saquon's just there, just throwing haymakers, and Kenny Gallade's pancaking people, and Andrew Thomas is like just picking up humans by their shoulders, and Evan Neal's just Dexter Lawrence just belly body slamming people.
Yeah, Evan Neal picks one up like Bane and Batman, just cracks their back, just kills
Eagles fans just laying in like disarray after.
Daniel Jones has a line of footballs and he's just pelting them and sniping different Eagles fans as they're running on.
Even
the
Eli
field.
Manning is running on the field. Like, what is Eli doing there? Oh my god.
That sounds like the
guys.
greatest dream of all time. That sounds like I
That
can't
would
tell
be
if that's a
so
nightmare or a
funny.
dream, but I might see that.
I think
when
I'd just be
sleep
watching just like in just absolute like I'd just be like frozen in time.
Could you imagine the commentary for that? Like
oh my
the sports
god.
commentators, they'd be like, it's just madness on the field. They wouldn't even know what to say. It would just be flabbergasted.
Yo, oh my goodness, that's insane. But guys, we appreciate everyone for tuning into the live stream. Hope you guys had a great time. Been about an hour here talking about this Giants team and what we can do to win this one and how excited we are. We are very, very excited, but also quite nervous in my opinion. I'm a little nervous as the time gets closer to 8:15 here. But stay light, stay calm. We're in this together, my friends. I'll be on Twitter, live tweeting, posting all the highlights immediately after. So we got you guys covered on that front, Anthony as well. So if you guys want a vent or whatever, hit me up in the DMs. I'll be there to talk to everybody. So always appreciate all the love and support. Make sure to like and subscribe on the live stream. We appreciate this. As always, much love. We love you guys. You make this possible, and it really means the world to us that you guys have tuned in for this long and continue to show us support and show this Giants team support. And finally, the brighter days are here. Much love as always, and we'll catch you guys after the game. Hopefully, the post-game live stream is a very, very hyped one.